So now it's being recorded as well for posterity. Okay, Mark and Karen, welcome. Monty, welcome. And again, anybody else who wanders in. Okay, so EFT is a form of energy healing. It's actually been around probably 5,000 years. The Asian, Indian, Ayurvedics, the Tibetans, Chinese, people in Southeast Asia have all been practicing one form or other. It's based on the concept of energy healing, the Asian concept of energy healing, very similar to shiatsu, acupuncture, acupressure. And the basic understanding is that we have this energy system, okay, that is in our body and around our body, where there are channels or meridians of energy. And their idea is that for healing to be effective, you have to heal both the energy system as well as the physical body. And if you don't heal the energy system, the body will get sick again. And that most illness is actually a reflection of the energy system. So if there's a problem with the energy system, the body's going to get sick, okay? And hence their focus on healing both physical and energetic aspects of us, okay? So anyway, in the 1970s, there was an American psychiatrist called Roger Callahan who was looking for a substitute for the American psychiatric tradition of drugging their patients into, stultifying and drugging their patients into unconsciousness, okay? And he was looking for something better and more effective. And he studied acupuncture. Now, back in the 70s, acupuncture was almost illegal in the United States. And in fact, in many states it was, because it was one of those hippie commie sex drug things, and needles. And you know what them commies do with needles, right? But since he was a licensed psychiatrist, he was allowed to wield a needle, even though an acupuncture needle has got nothing to do with a hypodermic. But since he was a licensed practicing psychiatrist, he was allowed to stick needles in people, believe it or not. Somewhere along the line, I don't know if you guys had acupuncture, Monty, Mark, Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, so Mark, go ahead, Monty.
No, quickly, I injured a knee during a play rehearsal. And this was back when I lived in Berkeley. Hey, Berkeley!
Yay, Berkeley.
Or Berserkly, as some may call it.
Right.
And I went to the doctor. They couldn't really do much for it. So I went to an acupuncturist. She was actually from China.
Right.
And when she put the needles in my knee, she also connected the needles with alligator clips to a small generator.
Yes.
And fed current through it, which I thought, wow, this is weird. I didn't know they did this.
The Chinese, that's how the Chinese, the modern Chinese practice acupuncture, yes.
So I took 3 treatments. She also gave me an herb pack to apply to the knee, and 3 treatments, and it was great.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, the electricity is what modern Chinese, actually they use it in dentistry and surgery.
Wow.
The Chinese, actually as an anesthetic, believe it or not.
That's so cool.
Anyway, carrying on with the narrative, Roger, I don't know where, but if you've ever had acupuncture, the needles, with us, of course, are disposable. And they're sold in these little packs, and you tear open the little pack and you stick the needle in, and when it's done, you throw it out, He must have run out of needles, because at a certain point, he stopped using needles and started tapping rather than sticking the needles. And guess what he found out? Tapping worked just as well.
Wow.
As the acupuncture. And acupuncture worked even better than drugging his patients.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway, this was back in the 70s. He got a lot of threats from the American and the AMA, and then he also got a lot of praise, and he had students, And one of his students was a guy called Gary Craig. Now, the way Roger taught, he called it TFT. This is the alphabet soup, thought field therapy. He basically taught acupuncture without needles. So you had to learn 3,000 acupuncture points, and he had this very, again, just like the Chinese, a very complicated, erudite, 3 taps here, 4 taps there, 6 taps here, 9 taps there, 12 taps here, 100 taps here. It was all very elegant. It absolutely worked, but, took years to learn, right? One of his students was a guy called Gary Craig. And this is, I'm moving forward now into the 80s, okay? See, I took us back to the 60s, guys, and now we're moving forward. But anyway, we're at the, Gary Craig said, hey, I want something simpler, and I want something that's going to work for everybody. Not only that, I want something that people can use to self-treat. And so Gary simplified it to about 14 tapping points, okay? And you didn't have to learn all these complicated algorithms and combinations of tappings, one size fits all. And it was something that could be learned in about 5 minutes. And the idea being that, say you're having a panic attack or an anxiety attack or a phobia or something, and it's Monday, and your session with your practitioner, psychologist, whatever, is Friday, what are you going to do? So the idea is that you could tap on your problem whenever you needed to, because it was such an easy system that you could learn in 5 minutes, okay? And hence EFT. Now, Gary was very good at sharing and marketing and promoting. And so after Gary, it was this explosion of a lot of people who kind of rebranded and reinvented EFT. And there's just a dozen, if not more than a dozen, TAT, CER, AMT, whatever. And it's all basically the same thing, which is tapping on your acupuncture points, energy points, chakras, meridians, whatever you want to call them, okay? Again, enter me about 1996, 97. I come back from doing volunteer work in a dirty little country, in a dirty little war in a dirty little country.
Vietnam.
No, this was West Africa, but same
really?
difference. Same, you know what I mean? Same
era?
Same shit show, like in the 90s.
Okay.
All right. And again, I was told I was going to get electroshock treatment and, pretty dangerous drugs with horrendous side effects. And I had a lot of buddies from Vietnam era, and they were, as we used to say, dinky dow. They were really damaged. And the drugs had made them worse. And, and in fact, a lot of them had gotten off the VA drugs and gone on to street drugs, because believe it or not, the street drugs were less toxic than the VA drugs.
Well, my cousin did. He was a Vietnam vet. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, just flashing back and flashing forward. As luck would have it, the wife of one of my buddies outside of Woodstock, and that's another talk tale about Woodstock. I lived in Woodstock at the time. Now I live down the road from Woodstock.
Wow.
But anyway, his wife did this tapping thing. She was basically the only EFT practitioner at the time in New York State. Everybody else was in California. Okay. Of course.
I believe it.
And so what happened was I went to see Marilyn Peterson, and of course she and her husband have both passed. I mean, it was a long time ago. But anyway, she started tapping on me. And in those days, the practitioner actually tapped on you. Okay. Believe it or not, that was the way it was taught back in the beginning. And she started tapping on me, and I just rolled my eyes, because again, Woodstock, you can't walk 2 paces in Woodstock without bumping into some kind of a healer, right? And so she tapped on me, and I went, oh, okay. And of course, it was his, I was kind of doing it for my buddy Bob because it was his wife, and you know what I mean, blah, blah.
Wow.
But guess what? In 15, 20 minutes, a lot of my symptoms went away. And I had all the symptoms, but I
Really?
just went, I thought she'd slip me some kind of Mickey in the peppermint
Right.
tea, you know,
Uh,
you know, I thought she'd slip something in the tea.
Oh,
But I mean, I just went, oh, and I said, wow, that got my attention. So what she told me to do is she was going to see me once a week, but then every time I had a panic attack, anxiety attack, anger attack, rage attack, PTSD, because PTSD is just a lot of symptoms happening at once.
right, right.
Insomnia, nightmares, night terrors. I had it all. But every time I had it, I would tap it down, do a 0. So that meant I tapped about 10 times a day, 15 times a day. But guess what? I didn't get into trouble. You know what I mean?
Right.
mm,
I didn't hurt myself or anybody else, But I would see her once a week. Okay. Within 8 months, I was completely symptom free.
Wow.
No meds, no, electroshock therapy, no outpatient, blah, 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 just doing this treatment. And I was able to more or less lead a normal life. Okay. Now, that got my attention. I started studying it. I got, certified. But I kept it a secret because it was woo woo. So I didn't
Yeah.
exactly promote it. I get kind of word of mouth, and I got a lot of vets, a lot of people surviving from trauma, or, recovering from some kind of trauma,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And somewhere along the line, I came out of the closet. But initially, I was kind of embarrassed and felt it was my guilty little secret. I didn't tell many people about it.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was kind of woo-woo, but it worked. Okay, so that's me, and that's my experience. All right, so flashing forward, I've been practicing for many years using this as a way to help people, treat people. And it's really good for a lot of different situations. It's great for pain management. And again, I'm sure a lot of you guys have aches and pains, right? It won't take away the source, it won't heal whatever's causing the pain. Of course, you have to see a doctor for that or some kind of practitioner for that, but it'll definitely help you manage pain. It's absolutely great for any kind of emotional situation, anxiety, depression. It's great for loneliness, isolation. It's great for grief, bereavement, loss. It's good for weight loss. I've used it a lot for addictions. I've been an addictions counselor, and I use it to help patients, clients withdraw from drugs. And actually, like I said, I've had 2 types of patients in the drug department. One is people withdrawing from street drugs, drug addicts, okay? But then the legal drug addicts, i.e. people who've become addicted to so-called legal pharmaceutical medication. And a significant number of people have come to me wanting to get off of these, so-called legal drugs, Also, it's great for love stuff, anything to do with love and relationships. It's really good. So it's a good general, I would call it a good tool to have in your toolbox, okay? So now I'm going to teach, Monty, you're an expert, but I'll teach Mark and Karen, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to teach Mark and Karen how to do it, and we're going to do a couple of warm-ups. So the basic format of this workshop is we're going to do a little EFT tapping, general warm-up, and then if anybody has a specific issue or challenge that they want to bring up, okay, and have tapped on, okay, we'll tap on it if we have enough time, and that'll be this week's workshop, okay?
Thank you.
So that's kind of the idea. It's a place, obviously, to share a little bit, but we're more into solutions here. Do you know what I'm saying? I want to give everybody a solution rather than just pity party. You know what I mean?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just gonna quickly on the job training. Okay. We're going to use what's known as the short form of EFT. which is 9 tapping points as opposed to the traditional 14, just because things move faster, okay? Now, you'll recognize these. These are all meridians, chakras, energy points. You've probably, like I said, had a needle stuck in them once or twice, or you've massaged it, or if you've ever done any kind of meditation, you've probably seen people kind of touch or hold those positions as well. So, top of the head, and again, it doesn't matter whether you use your right hand or left hand, but you want to tap 7 to 20 times. It's interesting. Gary said tap 7 times. Roger Callahan used to say tap up to 100 times. So just tap continuously on each tapping point. Left hand, right hand, both hand, doesn't matter. There's no wrong way to do it. Top of the head, which is called the crown chakra. Then the eyebrow, again, left, right, both hands, doesn't matter. It's called the eyebrow point. Then there's the outside corner of the eye. This is sort of like Simon Says, okay? Cheekbone under the eye, under the nose, on the upper lip, where the upper lip meets the nose, okay? Under the mouth, where there's that little cleft there, where the lower lip meets the chin, right there. Now the collarbone, and again, left hand, right hand, you can use a fist, your palm, or your fingers. There's no wrong way to do this. Collarbone, okay? On the side of the rib cage, under your arm, now this is an interesting thing. Girls have a head start because it's where girls have a bra strap. But also, if you feel around, one of those ribs is going to be sensitive, tender, or even painful. Have you noticed? If you feel around one of those ribs, okay, that's where you want to tap, and that's part of the EFT discovery statement, which is the root cause of all problems is a reversal or a blockage or damage to the energy system. And the reason it feels painful, sensitive, or tender is because that's where you have some blocked or reversed energy. Would you believe? Okay. Next tapping point is called the karate chop, or side of the hand. Again, if you've ever seen those kung fu movies or the karate movies, again, it doesn't matter left, right. The only, I change my hands because I get tired. Okay. So that's why, it doesn't matter which hand you use. Now, I'm going to show you one point we may or may not use. It's called the sore spot, but it also demonstrates the EFT discovery statement, okay, which is if you move around above your breast, below your collarbone, left of center, you'll also find an area that's sensitive, tender, or painful, right? It'll be left of center or right of center. Above your breast, below your collarbone.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, it's where there's some blocked. Everybody, it's a little slightly different area, but it's usually, like I said, right there. Okay. Again, the reason it's got that pain or sensitivity or soreness is because there's some blocked energy or reversed energy. Okay. So now I'm going to take you through some short, sweet tapping routines that are what I call my warm-up series. These are basically, I've borrowed shamelessly from other practices and religions and people, okay? Basically what we're going to do is we're going to cycle through tapping points while repeating affirmations and healing statements, okay? And again, I borrowed from the Tibetans, I've borrowed from the Hawaiians, I've borrowed from everybody, shamelessly. But again, it works. What can I say? All right, the first thing we're going to do is called the Protective Shield of Golden Light, which is borrowed from the Tibetan monks. This is one of their classic mantras. If you've ever seen those videos of monks going, oh, this is one of the things that they're doing, okay? And it's to protect you from negative energy, negative people, negative entities, spirits, whatever you want to call them, okay? And it really works. All right, so we're going to start tapping the top of the head, and basically the way it works is I'll lead you. You just tap where I tap 7 to 10, 20 times, whatever works for you, and just repeat the statements and affirmations that I make. So Simon Says, okay, tap where I tap and repeat what I say.
Out loud?
You can do it out loud if you want. That's fine with me. It gets noisy, but it's fun too.
Okay.
So, and Monty, you two are welcome, right? Okay. Top of the head. And now just repeat what I say. Say energy system.
Energy system.
Okay, very good. Now tap on the eyebrow. Say, I am instructing you.
I am
instructing you.
Okay. To generate
To generate
Generate
a protective shield of golden light.
a protective
a
shield
protective shield of golden light
Okay, outside corner of the eye now. Say all around my body.
all around
all
my
around
body.
my body.
Okay, cheekbone of the eye. Say protecting me from all negative energy.
Protecting me from all negative energy.
Okay, under the nose. All negative influences.
All
All
negative.
negative influences.
Okay, on the mouth. All negative intentions.
All
All
negative.
negative intentions.
Collarbone. All negative entities, beings, and spirits.
All negative entities be
spirits.
Spirits, okay, very good. Now under the arm now, side of the rib cage, say, sending them all to the sun.
Send
sending them all to the sun.
Now tap on the karate chop now, say, to be transmuted to love.
to be
To be
transmuted
to love.
Very good. Now let's go back up at the top of the head. Say, only allowing in.
only
allowing in.
Eyebrow now. Say, healing.
healing,
Outside corner of the eye, say, loving.
loving,
Okay, cheekbone of the eye, say, positive.
Positive.
Now under the nose, say, energies.
energy,
Okay, on the mouth, and intentions.
and intention.
Okay, very good. Now let's go to the collarbone. Say, and if I have any negative energies or intentions.
And
if I have any negative
intentions,
Okay, under the arm, I send them all to the sun.
I send them all to the sun.
Send them all to the sun.
Okay, karate chop now. Say, to be transmuted to love.
To be transmuted to love.
Okay, take a deep breath. And now release. Okay, there you go. And again, it's a great exercise just if you feel kind of oppressed or if you're around some toxic people or nasty people, or again, whether you're in a haunted house or just a kind of a toxic environment, a bad work environment or whatever, or a bad around some just nasty people, this actually will help you feel safer and more protected. And it's a great exercise. Obviously, you know, if you're continuously in a bad environment, I suggest you leave the scene of the crime. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's a protective shield of golden light. I have friends and clients who use that, and they say it works 4 to 6 hours. In my experience, about 4 to 6 hours. So if you're working in a toxic environment, say it in the morning before you go in, and then say it at the lunch break, you know, and that'll give you a kind of that protective shield against kind of toxic people, bad behavior, etc. Okay, doesn't make you bulletproof, but it definitely adds to a sense of safety and security. Okay, next, that's a really great exercise. And like I said, I have videos on it, which you will be getting a follow-up video email from me, which will have links to my YouTube channel, which will, I think this exercise is on it. The next one you may know, or I'm sure Monty may know. Anybody ever heard of Ho'oponopono?
Yes.
I have not.
Okay, Monty's heard of it. Again, it's a classic, traditional, native Hawaiian mantra practice. It's been around, again, hundreds, if not thousands of years. Obviously predates us American Howleys, right? And it resurfaced again, you know, because I guess as Hawaiian culture got, you know, Americanized, you know, a lot of the traditional native Hawaiian practices kind of, you know, disappeared or petered out, but it got resurfaced by an American, but native Hawaiian American, okay, and it's been a lot of people are discussing it, practicing it. There's a lot of conversation on it on the you know, internet, so it's easy to look up, okay. And again, I'll be sending you a link to a YouTube so you can follow along. It's great for healing, remote healing. It's also great for releasing, again, negative energy, negative feelings. It's great for relationship, for kissing and make up, for couples, kissing and making up. It's great for any kind of problem relationship that you may have, okay? And again, it's a great exercise. So again, we'll just get right into it. We're just going to start at the top of the head. And again, it's Simon Says, okay, start at the crown chakra and just repeat what I say. Tap where I tap, repeat what I say. And I'll just say, again, it's really easy. We're going to do it in English, okay? So say, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Eyebrow, say, please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Okay, outside corner of the eye, I forgive you.
I forgive
I
you.
forgive you.
Very good. Cheekbone under the eye, I forgive myself.
I forgive
I
myself.
forgive myself.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, I love you.
I love
I
you.
love you.
Very good. Collarbone, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Under the arm, please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Karate chop, I forgive you.
I forgive
I
you.
forgive you.
Top of the head, I forgive myself.
I forgive myself.
Okay, eyebrow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
Under the eye, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Under the nose, please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
Under the mouth, I forgive you.
I
I
forgive
forgive you.
Okay, collarbone, I forgive myself.
I forgive
I
myself.
forgive myself.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop, I love you.
I love
I
you.
love you.
Very good. Excellent. Let's all take a deep breath. And I'll release. Okay, how does that feel? Have you noticed a change, Mark
Yes.
and Karen? You
I
feeling
feel lighter. I feel lighter for sure.
okay?
Do you, Mark?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much. I agree too.
All right. Well, actually, you will notice what that is your energy is starting to move somewhere along the line, somewhere in your system. It may have been a little blocked or stuck or whatever, a little sluggish. And if you went to the acupuncturist would say, you have stagnant chi. You know, basically that's kind of what the tapping does. It starts to get the energy moving. And that tingling or that kind of body rush, right? That kind of almost like a cheap high, right? Go back to the 60s, right? We call that floating in EFT language. You'll actually feel like you're floating. You may start yawning. And it's all a form of releasing that negative energy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really good. Like I said, if, you know, I'm sure you guys will agree that couples do have their little disagreements and discussions, right?
Of course.
And you've heard the 24-hour rule. You got to kiss and make up within 24 hours, right?
It's a good rule.
I would say do the Ho'oponopono together. Okay. All right. So moving along, we're gonna then we're gonna do one more exercise, and then we'll get into the open session. Okay. The next session is a probably the easiest form of EFT tapping, but frankly is the most powerful, and it's taught at all the $3,000 weekend seminars, you know, at the Marriott in Las Vegas. Okay. All these success seminars. It's ridiculously easy, but it's also one of those sleepers. It's so easy people ignore it because it's too easy, but it really works. And it's called the gratitude tap, okay? And it's ridiculously easy, okay? And what it is you make a list of aspects of your life, things in your life, people in your life, stuff about yourself, whatever it is that makes you feel happy, positive, grateful, etc. Okay. And then we do this ridiculous, absurdly easy tap. Okay. So each one of us gets to share in turn. Okay. Something in their life or somebody or an aspect of their lives that they feel grateful for. So ladies first, Karen.
Yes. So grateful. I'm
something
so
you feel
grateful for my children. And my grandchildren, because
your children and your grandchildren. Beautiful. Absolutely. So let's start tapping the top of the head. And again, Monty and Mark, anything you feel grateful for, obviously. and you'll have a turn as well. But this is how we tap in a group. It's called borrowing benefits. We all support each other energetically. So again, tapping the top of the head, we're going to say 2 magic words that some people can never say, okay? But these 2 magic words totally activates law of attraction. Wait for it. Ready? Drum roll. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
There you
you.
go. Eyebrow now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Outside corner of the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Collarbone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Karate chop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Very good. Take a deep breath. And our release. Okay, and now let's see here. Mark, something or someone or something you feel grateful for.
I am very grateful for my health.
Awesome. Very good. Go top of the head. And again, say those 2 magic words. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Outside corner of the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Under the nose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Under the arm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Karate chop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
you.
Let's all take a deep breath and our release. Very good. And now, Monty, something or someone you feel grateful for.
I'm grateful for the Kaiser Healthcare balanced healthy life program.
Okay.
I go once a week, and we have a support group class, and it's all about good nutrition, exercise, lots of water. We don't use
Monty, this is not a commercial, please.
Sorry. Just saying, I'm very grateful for it because I really love the group.
All right, beautiful. Top of the head.
Awesome,
Thank you.
Monty.
Thank you, Monty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath and I'll release. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you 2 more forms of the gratitude tap. And I think Mark and Karen are going to love this one. This is better than those little blue pills. Okay. What you do is you make a list of the aspects of if you're in a relationship. This is called the love tap. Okay. Or the love magnet. If you're in a relationship, you make a list about the aspects or things that your partner does or is or whatever that does it for you, okay? That you love and admire, and you go thank you, thank you, thank you together, going back and forth, taking turns.
Aw.
Okay.
Nice.
Wonderful.
And if you're single and shopping like moi, you make a list of your past flames and crushes, okay? And you go thankful for you make a list and you tap on each one going, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because, it's really, it's really nice to be able to, even in past history, to love and have been loved, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely a good thing. Either way works, okay? So since we do have a couple, and why don't, again, ladies first, something that Mark does that you really love and admire.
I think that I am in love with the fact that he is tremendously humble and strong in so many ways.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, let's go top.
Awesome.
Take a bow, Mark. There you go. All right, top of the head. Okay, and again, connecting with those feelings, Karen, about how you love and admire Mark and what he does and how he's so humble and strong. Okay, and now say those 2 match. Everybody, let's all tap along together. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank
Thank
You.
Karate chop, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll take a deep breath. And I'll release. Okay, Mark, you're on. You're on. What's something about Karen that you love and admire?
What I love and admire is her integrity, and she says she's going to call you, or at a certain time she does. If she says she's going to do something, she does.
Awesome. All right, top of the head. And again, about for Mark, what Karen does, she's so reliable and she's honest and has integrity and etc. Okay, so top of the head, say those two magic words, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow, thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take a deep breath and I'll release. Okay, I'm just going to tell you a little anecdote about this tap. Okay, this is a very powerful couples tap, and I actually use it in my couples workshops. Okay, and when I do couples counseling, it's a very powerful exercise. I used to have a series of couples workshops that I ran a few years back, and I remember once we were, tapping along. We were having a workshop, and a couple arrived late, and you could hear them screaming and bickering and shouting in the parking lot.
Oh my gosh.
And they were saying, "That's it. I'm done with you. I'm calling a lawyer. Get your hands off me. I'll never have sex with you again."
Oh my gosh.
The whole bit, right?
It's like the
All
worst
the
argument.
in the parking lot, and we could hear them in the building. So everybody's going, "Who is this couple from hell?"
Oh my
And they
gosh.
walk in, and you could tell they were just, livid and rage. The psycho couple, right? So we start tapping, and when there's one of those moments where everybody stopped, there's a lull in the conversation, and
Yeah.
then you overhear somebody whispering.
God.
So we've been tapping for about 15, 20 minutes, and we were doing this one, and each couple did the what they love about each other thing, right? And you could hear the wife saying, "I really want to have sex with you. Can we go home now?"
Oh my God. Oh, I'm turning red right now. I'm turning red.
That totally brought the house down.
Oh
I thought you'd enjoy that.
Very cute.
Because with that said, the truth is, for a female, it's very emotional. And so you're talking about all the emotions that go into that relationship. So I get that. I understand what you're saying, right? At the end of the day.
But again, this is, these are practical tools that I've been using since, the 90s. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Monty, if you're in
Yes.
a relationship, something about your partner that you love and admire, or if you're shopping, one of your past flames.
Okay, 1 second. Battery was running low. I had to plug in.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah.
You can use initials. You can be anonymous if you want.
No, I am happily married for 31 years.
Awesome.
And what I love about my wife, or one of the things I love about my wife, is that she has resiliency and strength. And she handles difficult situations really, really well for the most part.
Awesome.
And
That's beautiful.
yeah, she's strong for me instead of the other way around most of the time,
Wow.
which is great. It works. So,
Well, I'm really glad that both of you, I mean, all of you are able to kind of quickly come up with something. I mean, listen, I've had couples, they couldn't think of a single thing
Oh my gosh.
about each other. And of course, well, that's why they come to you, right? Okay. All right. So just for the sake of Monty, first name, wife's first name?
Yeah.
Margaret.
Margaret. Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
Monty, connect with your loving feelings for Margaret and her resiliency and strength of character and spirit. Okay. Top of the head. And now say those two magic words. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Outside corner of the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath. And our release. Well, I guess Margaret's ears are burning in a good way. What can I say?
Aw, sounds like a
I'm
beautiful
sure they
woman.
are.
Anyway, now we're going to do the last form of the gratitude tap, which is what I call cash and prizes. And it's really easy. And this is the money maker. This is the one that I still get from customers 10, 15, 20 years later, believe it or not. Okay. If you have a business or a practice, this is absolutely necessary. You got to be doing this, or you're leaving money on the table. You're throwing money out the window. I don't know, Monty, are you a practitioner now? Are you actually have clients?
I am working toward that.
Okay.
I've had some personal issues that I've been dealing with prior to making the big launch, but I'm much closer now than I was, say, 3 months ago.
Okay,
so
cool. All right.
Getting
all right.
there.
If you have Mark or Karen, are you retired, semi-retired? Do you have customers, clients, or are you employed?
Yeah, we're both employed, and Mark, both of us have clients. We're not ready for the retirement stage. We were married young, had children young. Like Monte, we have one, the oldest son went to Yale ultimately. And so anyway, we have had a lot of cost along the way. So yes, we're still working.
Okay, that's okay. All right. So what you do is you make a list of your sources of income.
Okay.
All right. Now, this can be employers, government agencies, insurance companies, clients, students, customers, whatever it is, wherever your money comes from. Okay, goes on tight. Make a list of your customers, okay, and do the thank you on each one.
Oh, wow.
Every morning,
Powerful.
all of my customers get a thank you. My customers get 10 seconds of thank you every morning.
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet.
All right. If there's anything you take away from them, this is the cash and money one. Okay.
Gratitude, right?
Just real simple. Okay. Now you can use initials. Okay.
Okay.
Karen, since you're chatting right now, Karen, a source of abundance in your life can be an employer. It can be a company, can be any source of income, family or friends, Uncle Fester, who willed you $1 million, any source of income. Okay. A gift or income from goods and services. Go ahead.
I mean, we've had gifts from our children, and we've had, gift of employment, basically.
Well, just one. Just name one for the moment.
Well, basically.
Just initials.
Initials. Employment, basically. Is that
beautiful?
Initial? Yeah.
Okay. Top of the head.
Yep.
Top of the head, everybody. Say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop, thank you.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath and our release. Very good. Okay, and Mark, a source of income. You can be employer, client, whatever.
Lance D.
Top of the head, thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow, thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop, thank you.
Thank you.
Take a deep breath. And our release. Very good. Excellent. Okay, money, source of abundance, source of income, can be employer or company or client or, and if you want to use initials, that's fine. Go ahead.
Well, other than Social Security,
That helps. That helps. That's a good
which I'm
start.
thankful for also. I'm thankful for the pension fund I received from my company that I turned into a long-term annuity that has a floor. So it's a very steady, reliable source of income.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, top of the head, thank you.
Thank you.
Eyebrow, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Side of the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the eye, thank you.
Thank you.
Under the nose, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the mouth, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Collarbone, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Under the arm, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karate chop, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take a deep breath and I'll release. Very cool. Excellent. So there you go. Those are what I call my warm-up taps. They will be on YouTube. They're on my YouTube channel. Again, if you want, also, hopefully this recording will have made it onto Facebook. So it should end up on my Facebook profile page, hopefully, fingers crossed. So if you want to do those taps. Now it's the open section of the workshop. We're probably going to go into overtime, but that's okay. I'm not a clock watcher. But this is where you guys get to check in. If there's any kind of issue or challenge that you would like to discuss, or in terms of tapping, something that we can tap on. Now, again, my shopping list is any physical aches or pains, anxiety, depression, any feelings of isolation or loneliness, any issues like loss, grief, or bereavement, any weight issues or addictions, and of course, anything to do with love and relationships. So there we go. Who'd like to check in? Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm going to begin with my husband's health. Mark had stage 4 cancer 2 years ago.
Okay.
He's doing well, and he's thriving at this point. So I want to send that to the universe, or whatever you ask of us right now.
Right. Okay. Well, like I said, as we get older, the parts start to, healthcare becomes the major issue.
Yes.
It's amazing. We cruised along for so many years thinking we were going to live forever and we're bulletproof, right?
Right.
And then we suddenly realized we're very, very, very mortal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're a survivor now and a thriver, which is a good sign. And I'd be interested to hear your experience. But again, Karen, so what is your concern? What I can make several comments,
Yeah.
but I was just curious. What is your concern, Karen? Do you spend a lot of time worrying about him?
So, when he was considered recovered, of course, I was really grateful. But since then, he's had some employment issues, in all honesty. He went through stage 4 chemo, and he never missed a day of work. I want to tell you that. He even worked from his chemo bed. He had stage 4 lymphoma. And 2 months after he was recovered, his employment ended. And my team had I thought possibly it was the insurance risk, whatever. And then he spent 7 months to look for more employment, and was employed again. And then he had his port taken out 2 years later. And a month later, he was unemployed. So, I feel like, I'm worried. about what our future holds in terms of what people refer to as his health and so forth, because he's very healthy and he's very strong and works very, very hard. So that's my concern right now. Is
Okay, I'm
our,
just going to field that.
yeah.
Karen, take care of Karen.
Okay.
Yes.
You're the house worrier. Is that
Yes.
correct? Is
The
she
world,
house?
the world warrior.
Okay. Take care of Karen. I'm saying that for an important reason, because you can worry yourself. Worry and stress are the precursors of all illness.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, it's one thing to be mindful, and it's another thing to be totally stressed out over. Do you get the point?
Okay. Yep.
The tapping is good for that.
Yes.
Now, again, I'm going to say the following.
Okay.
I have on my YouTube channel several tapping videos on tapping for good health.
Okay.
Whether that benefits or not is totally anecdotal and is not a substitute for licensed professional medical care. But I have a number of clients who've, again, been seriously ill, okay, and incorporate alternate and holistic practices as part of their regimen, but not as a substitute for whatever licensed professional care he's getting. But definitely anything that will reduce your anxiety, okay, would be a good thing for you.
Thank you.
And I would definitely take a look at my tapping stuff, okay, for free.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
totally
Thank
free. You'll see it. And there's also a really great, I include in my follow-up email, 2 of my favorite meditations of all time. You guys ever heard of Wayne Dyer?
Oh, of course. Yes. Yes.
Okay. I've been doing his Ah and Om meditation for 25 years.
Wow. Wow.
And even though he passed a couple of years ago,
Yep.
it's my favorite. I do the Ah in the morning and the Om at night.
Wow.
And the link will be on the email that I'll be sending you, the follow-up email, okay? If you registered and logged in properly, you'll get that as a follow-up thingy from me, okay? But all of those practices will help reduce your stress and your anxiety, okay?
Okay.
And again, what do they say on the airplanes? What does the flight attendant say to everybody? When the oxygen mask comes down, Mom, put the mask on yourself before you put the mask on baby. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess, Mark, are you worried about money?
Yeah, he is.
Yes. There's been times I haven't been, but more recently, yes.
Okay. I'm going to suggest a couple of things.
Okay.
He's psychic.
First of all, the dirty little secret about this country is ageism.
Yeah. Yep.
And I encountered it. I encountered ageism, and they don't want to admit it, but of course they practice it by the early buyouts and all that crap.
Exactly.
Of course they don't want to pay. Some bean count. They no longer consider an employee an asset. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
And they just want to kick you out the door and pay somebody, a third your age and a third your salary to do twice the work, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And that's kind of what that's about. Okay. And, that unfortunately that's where it's at. That's this country.
It is.
And however, you can make money as a consultant.
Right.
And a lot of, there are a lot of sites out there called Freelancer, Elancer, etc., where, you can make money. Now, some guys make a lot of money, some don't, whatever.
Okay.
Basically, I'm, semi-retired, and I do a variety of this kind of things, what we're doing right now for money. And I do it on a very moderate scale, and I make it affordable as well, especially for my booming senior friends,
Fifty
because I know
years.
all of us are short a buck, you know.
Right.
But I have a thing called the Money Bags Financial First Aid Kit,
Okay.
Wow.
which are a series of, again, exercises, motivational exercises, that if you do on a daily basis will help you.
Sounds good.
Because 90% of all this stuff is you being motivated. Because what happens when you go into fear and anxiety and worry, you go stupid.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
How
Well,
do you know?
there's actually a physiological reason. When you go into survival mode, your blood vessels constrict, the blood flow to the brain shuts down. You go into kind of fight or flight, and that's not a good state to be in if you're trying to problem solve.
No, it's not.
True.
You know, so that's why the tapping and the meditation and obviously tapping is not going to get you a job. You're going to have to get off your couch and, you know what I mean, go out there. But here's the deal. There's a whole secondary marketplace, and a lot of us boomers are out there reinventing ourselves.
Yeah, true.
And it could be all kinds of stuff. And I mean, it could be survival jobs, but it could also be coaching, mentoring, because let's face it, you've got a gazillion years life experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And that's invaluable, even though the 20-year-old won't admit it.
It's so true.
No, they
so
won't.
true.
They need it desperately.
Yeah, it's so true.
And if you can find a way to bridge their generation gap, fear and distrust, or whatever it is. Again, we live in an essentially narcissistic culture where you're not allowed to admit weakness.
I know, so true.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to ask for help.
No.
No.
They say you can, but you really aren't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way, there's a whole bunch of kids out there who need help. And we'll pay you 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 bucks an hour to help them.
Really? Are there? There really are. Okay. I've worked with so many of those 30-something-year-olds in my life, and it's been so disheartening.
Well, they're not going to admit it on the job. But again, how many salesmen get told, if you don't get your numbers up by the you're fired?
All the time.
Right? And so guess what? I'm sure that you have an expertise in whatever practice, discipline, business you're in. That's invaluable. Now, also, you could turn around and, get a little tent, an RV, and sell jewelry at a craft fair.
Oh, I would love that. That would be me. He's much more the business minded. He's been in agriculture, his whole life. And
well, again, if you have that lifetime experience, that has market value, but you have to sell it. You have to find a way to package and market and find your marketplace. The wonderful thing today is you can do what I'm doing to your market niche.
Yes.
You can have, whatever your skill set is, right?
Right.
You can have a workshop.
Yeah.
And if you want to charge admission at the door, go ahead.
He's a good public speaker. He really is.
So again, there's, or Karen, go get a pop-up tent and get some Indian jewelry.
Yeah.
And hit the craft fair.
I love the arts. Yeah.
I have a friend who's got an RV.
Yeah.
And he has one of those pop-up tents and a bunch of folding tables, and he's got all this turquoise Indian jewelry, right? And he sells it right in front of the Woodstock Chamber of Commerce shed in Woodstock by the municipal parking lot, right by the public lavatory.
Good traffic.
It is good traffic.
That's thinking.
Right next to the Chamber of Commerce little shed, with a, you know what I mean? They have the little shed with all the businesses in Woodstock, right? And right by the municipal parking lot. And what he does is in the winter, he starts driving south and he hits all the little craft fairs and destination stops, heading south till he gets down to Key West.
I swear you are hitting my heart because that's something I've always wanted to do.
Now, he says it's a very lonely life and he's gone through 3 girlfriends because women don't like the lifestyle.
Well, it's artsy. I mean, it's in the arts, but it's beautiful. We need it.
It's living in an RV that gets rid of the girls. He says they last about 2 months.
I'll tell you,
and they want to go home.
I'm kind of the point where I'll take an RV and go across the United States any day, and we've had it all. We've had it all at one point in our life, but
But I mean, that's like I said. I'm just telling you what happened to my friend. So if you could stomach it, great, good for you. But most girls, they don't like it. They want a real bathroom.
Yeah, I miss the bathroom. I really would miss the bathroom when I'm.
They want a real bedroom,
I know, I get that. Yeah.
But that's And but like I said, I think Mark, you're not on the scrap heap, though. My last corporate adventure, okay, I was a consultant for a multinational, and I went to the manager, the big mucky muck, who was 20 years younger than me, of course.
Oh yeah.
And I said, listen, this team is, everybody's stabbing everybody in the back. It's dog eat dog. We're not a team where everybody's undercutting and betraying and, blah, 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 blah. This is not a team. He smiled and he said, I like it that way.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's what's sad.
And I said, you know what? I am so in the wrong place. That's it. I'm out of here,
It's not long
I am
term.
so in the wrong place.
So true. It's what they believe today.
Oh,
I'm not
gosh.
sure it's long lasting because it doesn't win the race, but it's short-term gain, which is what you're saying. Yeah.
And so basically, but what I'm going with this is that you have, there's a 100 something million people here, most of whom are under 40.
Yeah.
And they need a lot of help. I mean, you've got half of them can't even get a job. Half of them are on survival. They need mentoring and coaching.
Really?
Yep.
Do they? Is that true? Is that the
What do you think all the Occupy movement's all about? Is it out of work millennials, out of work kids?
I know. With lots of debt.
Saddled with monster
Lots of debt.
Yeah.
College debt. That's true. Very true.
And so they need coaching, they need support, they need a shoulder to cry on, they need some kind of or how do you deal with the corporate infighting or whatever, or the politics, they need that support.
Thank you.
So I see a market for Mark.
Well, yeah, it's seek and find, right?
I think there's a niche. And again, today with what we have now with the internet, heaven forbid there's an EMP pulse that knocks it all out. But, right. I mean, listen.
Yeah, that's true.
With Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff, you can reach a bunch of people.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
And again, however you sell tickets or charge or, get in with the commercial or whatever. I mean, the way I work is I run these free workshops. Okay.
Yeah.
And some people say, gee, I need some special help after school. And I go, I say, well, sign up for whatever,
No, there's a lot of people that need a tutor out there.
Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say mentoring, tutoring, whatever you want to call it, supporting. And again, if you're kind of a good fatherly sort of guy, a lot of people need a daddy.
Yes.
It's true, isn't it?
Or an uncle, or some, a male role model, whatever you want to
Good
call it.
dad. And he's also a consultant. He's been on the consulting end of the business for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's a complete doable. And Karen, go get your pop-up tent.
Okay. It's all about the arts. It's all about the arts.
No,
I
but again, people do very well, and people have their little Shopify and
well,
Etsy
no,
stores, you know?
I know. In all honesty, it's my love. So maybe I haven't been able to make money from it, but yes, I love the
Well,
art.
again, you start, you learn. It's a learning
Yeah,
curve, and
definitely.
you experiment with the different things that work or don't work, and then you know what works, you continue, and you know, and as we get older, we're not. I wouldn't say we're marginalized. We haven't been kicked out of the system, but it's just the nature of things. We have, there's all these kids who got to,
Have
they
jobs.
got to start making money and
It's
do,
true.
because if they start having kids, they got to have a way to support those kids.
It's true. That's very true.
So
It's
we
all
have to
true.
move sideways to make room for them.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we've been kicked out of the game.
You just have to find more creative way of making money, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you. It's true.
so there. Monty, have I been helpful? Is this conversation helpful to you?
It's been extremely helpful.
Aw, I love my.
Yeah, not so much as in the terms of a specific direction, but in terms of confidence of success. That's been the bedrock of my issue going forward with the EFT practice. I've worked in the corporate world most of my life, and I'm used to that. All the business gathering, all the rainmaking is done by somebody else. Now it will all be up to me. And given my family life as a kid, things were not too comfortable financially back then. And I feel a little bit of fear around that, and I'm slowly getting over that finally. And to hear this conversation reinforces the positive idea that this can be done. It's a learning curve. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm going to respond to you right away because I've been there, done that. I would lead with whatever it is, what your skill set is in the corporate world, or the niche and the context that you've developed over the years, and the type of people or the caste or tribe of people that you've been a member of. Okay. And I wouldn't lead with EFT. I'll tell you why. Again, Americans are essentially narcissistic.
Right.
And EFT immediately presupposes there's something wrong with you. And Americans can't accept that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you can, whatever your industry is or your background is, there's some niche for you as a mentor, helper, advisor, consultant, doer, and the EFT is one of the screwdrivers or the hammers in your toolbox.
Right.
Okay. I've had to learn that the hard way. And again, you're just dealing with a mentality. Interestingly enough, the British and the Australians have no trouble saying there's something wrong with them. In other words, British, Australians, New Zealanders have, just like Americans, will not go to a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Okay. They just won't, per capita. Okay.
Yeah.
Until they're told to by the judge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the Brits and the Australians, the Aussies will do it. No problem. It's part of their culture.
They are so advanced on so many ways. They
It's
are.
also a mentality or a culture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a kind of a different culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't see, there's nothing, and like I said, in their culture, it's not seen as a weakness if asking for help.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm.
So EFT, sold as EFT, does much better in UK and Australia per capita than it does in the States. And my experience, as a therapist is, guess what? Going to see a therapist is like going to see the parole officer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
You know, it's like going to see the police. You know, and so
Mhm.
that's the mentality. So they're going to be difficult, defensive. But if, on the other hand, if you're, you know, if whatever your niche was, professional, corporate niche, again, it doesn't have to be totally directly tied to that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
to that culture, if you're like the helper, the mentor, the guide, the old pro, do you get myself? The old guide, the hunting guide, the fish. Americans will hire a fishing guide or a hunting guide before they'll hire a shrink.
So funny. I believe
Yeah.
it from my heart, which is terrifying in a way.
They'll hire a football coach before they'll hire a shrink.
I know. Why is that
Yep.
that's still so prevalent? Why is that?
It's like I said, it's intrinsically narcissistic
It's a
culture.
cultural thing.
What? Why? Because we all need. So I once heard that it's just as important to have a mental check as it is a physical check.
Absolutely,
Everyone
but
should have
most Americans don't. Again, it's not in our culture.
that. Does insurance pay for that primarily? Do they? I mean, is
They
that
don't pay
something
for
that?
football coaches. I'm just saying Americans will dig into their pocket and pay for, well, no, you
Okay.
can't, you know, they'll pay for drugs.
I know that's
You
true.
can go to a psychiatrist and he'll give you all the drugs you want.
Yeah, that's true.
And the insurance companies will pay for it too.
Hmm.
You know.
All right. Yes.
Anyway, we continue this conversation next week. But
Sounds good.
like I said, Monty and Mark, definitely check out my follow-up email.
Okay.
I will also, if you want, I'll make sure to send you the Money Bags Financial First Aid Kit.
Thanks, Tony.
Yes, please. Please.
Okay, and check that out. And of course, if you need me privately, I am available at extremely affordable prices.
Of course.
Tony, what is your expertise? Is it the EFT or what is it you provide?
I've been various forms of counselor over the last million years. Okay, addictions counselor, DV counselor, marriage counselor, worked for several police departments for crazy cops.
Psychically,
Yeah, psychologically.
psychologically.
Right. And also because, and again, more Americans would rather go see a tarot card reader before they'd see a psychologist.
Yeah, because it's less threatening.
And so what I do, which I find interesting, is that, you know, I shuffle the cards, and of course, lo and behold, you know, the client has insomnia.
Yeah.
And so I say, gee, maybe I can help you, you know? And so I segue into psychologist after flipping the cards as Tony the psychic. But also I do get clients, you know, directly in as, like I said, I'm semi-retired, so I don't need to work that hard.
Yeah.
But again, when a client, usually heretofore, especially as an addictions counselor, I mean, it's like going to see the parole officer. They'd be sulking and pissed off and defensive and I'm the enemy, you know.
A victim. A victim.
And they're the victim, right, et cetera. Yeah. So, you know, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to suggest for yourself.
Okay.
You know, being the uncle or the auntie or the friend or the brother, the older brother. Do you understand the difference in the role?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you'll find a lot of willing clients.
I love that. Thank you, Tony.
And the EFT is just one of your tools.
I'm going to use it. I love it.
Don't try and sell EFT. It just won't sell.
I wouldn't. I mean, but it is a tool to help us.
Yeah, it's a tool. I mean, just, you know, there's a dozen tools, you know, hundreds of tools.
That's true.
You know. Okay, guys, let's close with something called the Abundance Tap. I want to thank you all for showing up. I'll be here next week at the same time. Feel free to tell all your friends. And so we'll do something called the Abundance Tap, is what we started doing in 2008 during the so-called recession, right?
Right.
And because everybody was so terrified about the economy. And it's called the Abundance Tap. And it's a really simple little tap, again, a more of a motivational exercise, but you'll see it's very soothing and very calming, okay? And again, let me just sit differently, okay? And what we do is we tap, okay? Just tap on certain tapping points and repeat what I say, okay? So starting at the karate chop, just repeat after me. Say, even though I have been allowing the universe
Even though I have been allowing the universe
to manifest some abundance in my life,
to manifest some abundance,
okay, I choose to allow the universe
I choose to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love, accept, and forgive myself.
love, accept, and forgive myself.
Very good. So even though I have been allowing the universe
Even though I have been allowing the universe
to manifest some abundance in my life,
to manifest some abundance in my life,
I set a firm intention
I set a firm intention
to allow the universe
to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love, accept, and forgive myself.
love, accept, and forgive.
Very good. So even though I have been allowing the universe
Even though I have been allowing the universe
to manifest some abundance in my life,
to manifest some abundance,
today I set a firm intention
today I set a firm intention
to allow the universe
to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in.
And I deeply and completely
And I deeply and completely
love, accept, and forgive myself.
love, accept, and forgive myself.
Very good. So now we're going to top of the head. Today I set a firm intention
Today I set a firm intention
to allow the universe
to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
Very good. Eyebrow, even more abundance of love.
Even more abundance of love,
Side of the eye, even more abundance of happiness.
even more abundance of happiness,
Okay, under the eye, even more abundance of good health.
even more abundance of good health,
Under the nose, even more abundance of financial prosperity.
even more abundance of financial prosperity,
Okay, under the mouth, even more abundance of artistic creativity.
even more abundance of artistic creativity,
Okay, collarbone, even more abundance of good friends.
even more abundance of
Good
good
friends.
Okay, very good. Under the arm, even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
Very good. Karate chop. So today I set a firm intention.
So today I set a firm
intention
Very good. Top of the head. To allow the universe
to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in my life,
Eyebrow, even more abundance of love.
even more abundance of love,
Side of the eye, even more abundance of happiness.
even more abundance of happiness,
Under the eye, even more abundance of good health.
even more abundance of good health,
Under the nose, even more abundance of financial prosperity.
even more abundance of financial prosperity,
Okay, under the mouth, even more abundance of artistic creativity.
even more abundance of artistic creativity,
Collarbone, even more abundance of good friends.
even more abundance of good friends,
Under the arm, even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
Very good. Karate chop. And now we're on the home stretch. So today I set a firm intention.
So today I set a firm intention
Top of the head. To allow the universe
to allow the universe
to manifest even more abundance in my life.
to manifest even more abundance in my life,
Okay. Eyebrow. Even more abundance of love.
even more abundance of love,
Side of the eye. Even more abundance of happiness.
even more abundance of happiness,
Yeah, even more abundance of good health.
even more abundance of good health,
Okay, I don't know. It's even more abundance of financial prosperity.
even more abundance of financial prosperity,
I don't know about even more abundance of artistic creativity.
even more abundance of artistic creativity,
Collarbone, even more abundance of good friends.
even more abundance of good friends,
Very good. Under the arm, even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
even more abundance of all the good things I really need.
Karate chop. And I deeply and completely
And I
And I deeply and completely
love, accept, and forgive myself.
love, accept, and forgive myself.
Okay, very good. So I'll take a deep breath and I'll release. Okay, there you go, guys. It's a wrap. I want to thank you for all showing up tonight. And this is getting legs, so I will be back again next week, a Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And feel free to drop me a line on Facebook or email. I love hearing progress or challenges. Okay, so blessings. Namaste.
Thank you, Tony.
Namaste. Thank you, Tony. Great
Namaste
session.
to you as well. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.